होके भी खुद के नहीं, भीड़ में होके भी तन्हा हो. Hello, welcome to the 5th episode of Girl with Thousand Expressions. This is Sakshi Gupta. Now let's move to the question of how to be yourself from what stops you from being yourself. Till now we have seen how people pleasing, validation, trying to fit in stops us from being ourselves. And if you're new here and have not listened to my previous episode, do check it out to find out what am I talking about. Now in this episode, let's see how we could come closer to ourselves. What are the ways to know us better? And let's discuss them. Have you ever sit with yourself without anyone or anything? When was the last time you did it? If you're thinking you're mostly alone, you're alone in your room, you do your work alone, but you're most probably with some device. You are in gym alone, but you might be listening to some song to avoid listening to yourself. You are engaged somewhere or the other. In 24 hours, we are never really alone, because to be alone means to be with yourself and your thoughts completely, while awake, without any external stimulators like our smartphones or TV or any other person. Just think about that. How many times are you really alone in a day or a week? And if you can't really think of such moments, let me give you an example. Why is it so hard and how tormenting it is to just listen to ourselves? Traffic lights. I'm obsessed with traffic lights. During red light, do you have this urge to move and not wait? You just hate to put a brake and wait. Why we can't wait for a minute? A minute is not long, but it seems so. It's not that waiting for a minute will make you late for somewhere. And let's say even if there are 5 traffic lights on your way, it will be an extra 5 minutes affair. But how many times something is so urgent that it can't wait for 5 minutes? Why is it so hard to wait on traffic lights? It's because we have to be with ourselves, with our thoughts alone. We have to take a break, which is so daunting. We are ready to go into chaos while moving on a red light, but we can't wait. Next time, when you have this urge to just move and waiting on a traffic light makes you uncomfortable, try to relax yourself. Don't run, just wait. See it as 5 minutes for yourself. Now let's move to the question of how being alone is different from being lonely. You might know, but let's deep dive into it. Lonely is to feel disconnected, and alone means to be with yourself. I heard this quote somewhere: when you hate being alone, you're in a bad company. And we keep avoiding that bad company. And why do we feel lonely even in the crowd? Because we feel disconnected from others. We can't speak about ourselves and express what we are feeling and how we are doing. So eventually we always feel lonely when we are alone because we have never tried to connect with ourselves. And you're going to cherish being alone for some time when you'll know how it affects every aspect of your life and how being alone is so important to come closer to yourself. It's so simple. आपको दूसरों को जानने के लिए उनके साथ वक्त बिताना पड़ता है. खुद के साथ कितना वक्त बिताया? When we see somebody by themselves, we almost pity them. यार अकेले कैसे बैठे हैं? कोई है नहीं क्या? But there's a strength in it to be by themselves doing their thing. When you don't need people, as you can be alone, you only let people in your life on the want basis. You will let people in your life when you really want them, not need them. You will never compromise. रुकना ठहरना बहुत जरूरी होता है खुद को समझने के लिए. अब खुद के साथ वक्त बिताएंगे तभी तो खुद की सच्चाइयां पता चलेगी. हमें क्या पसंद है क्या नहीं. हाँ, हमें शायद ये नहीं करना, शायद उनके साथ नहीं रहना. और वक्त बिताने के ना बहुत तरीके होते हैं. And every way has its own benefit. And you will see it once you do it. One way is to journal. बहुत लोगों ने बोला होगा journal करो. But how does it exactly helps you? Once you journal, you will be aware of your thoughts. Unless you will take a break to know them, how would you ever understand them and choose them yourself? Which thoughts are worth keeping and which we should let go of? You get to think about things which are constantly bothering you and take actions accordingly. And to start with, just scribble. Write whatever you want. No rules, nothing in particular. With the time, start writing the problems and you will know, are they even real? And then you can find the solution for the real problems. Just take step by step. There are times when I have this urge to just sit and understand what is going on in my mind and clear it out. When nothing could help me, only I can help myself. By just sitting with me to understand my problems. And it's unimaginable for me to not give myself some time in a day or at least in a week. And if journaling is something you don't want to start with, just sit for 5 minutes doing nothing. No meditation, just nothing. You'll know time is long and there is no reason to rush. Being with yourself makes you see you have enough time. We often complain about having so little time for everything, but just sit with yourself for a minute. You'll be calmed. You'll know a minute is too long. No need to rush. लोग बोलते हैं everybody is rushing in metro cities and during the office time you will see people on metro stations. Everybody is running और सबको देख के आप भी भागने लगते हो. फिर मैंने सोचा पर क्यों? There is train in every 5 minutes. What is the need to rush? But the reason is we are never still to think of a why. Once you'll give yourself that 5 minutes, you will learn to relax and calm down. There is no need to actually rush. You'll also gain a listening capacity. अब कोई खुद के thoughts सुन सकता है तो दूसरों के तो सुन ही सकता है. But by just taking that 5 minutes break, you'll create space for your own emotions. Start being curious about your feelings instead of judging them. When you're talking to somebody, different emotion emerges, different triggers. Just try to be aware of them instead of judging them or stopping it. Think about why did you feel the way you did. You can reflect back on events at the end of the day. You can write about what did you feel. Once you're aware of your feelings, you'll know the reasons too. And write down what did you like about your day and make sure to do more of it each day and eliminate the things you don't like. If not every day, at least in a week, spend some time to reflect back on your week. What worked for you? What did not? What did you like doing? Whom did you like hanging out with? All those feelings and triggers will keep accumulating unless you'll give some time to understand them and feel them. I say hi to myself before starting my day. Is everything okay with me? Am I alright? Is anything bothering me? Then I go ahead with my day. And if you're into sports and you like running, you can start it without headphones. You'll be alone with your thoughts. It will help to clear all your non-reasonable thoughts. When we listen to ourselves, we stop listening to everybody. I used to believe in everything I listen or read, but when you know you have your own thoughts and know how flawed they could be, others might as well be wrong. And sometimes something might not work for you. You will stop listening to everybody once you start listening to yourself. When you're okay doing nothing, then you know what really excites you. If you're always in a stimulated state, how would you know if something is really exciting? It's because you never intentionally let yourself without any stimulation. You don't take that break. You don't put yourself in that gap. It's very hard to let go of your addiction. Whenever there is a little space in your mind, you go back to stimulations. Example, your smartphones. Just give it a break. When you could be in that gap of doing nothing intentionally, it would be easy to let go of your addiction. You would be able to fight that urge to not pick up the phone or anything. And being alone is tormenting, I know. But yeah, our own company is so bad because we keep ranting and complaining and always talk about what is going wrong. And if you're with somebody and they'll keep doing that, at some point or the other, you will avoid them. But instead, if the other person listens to you without judgment, wouldn't you want to be with them more? So to avoid feeling lonely while alone, connect with yourself. Listen to yourself. It's okay to feel and think all the bad things in outcome. But eventually, what you choose to act on is you. You cannot change your own company, but at least you can start by knowing yourself, being curious what you're all about. And if you don't like it, you can change. And change starts with knowledge and acceptance. We point out so many problems with our culture and society, and we ourselves are always in a state of बस चल रहा है, पर क्यों? We are too afraid to change ourselves because it requires efforts. I believe change starts with oneself, but what would you change until you will stand in that mud to know the problem and clear it? It might be the case that you don't want to change anything, but to know it, cover the distance with yourself by spending that 5 minutes time with you. Starting with doing nothing, journaling, and then reflecting on your actions. It helps me create space for myself and my emotions, and eventually it helps me create space for others. When we start understanding our own thoughts, we'll also start understanding what other person might be thinking and how they feel. After all, we are all the same. If we were not, social media companies would not be making so much profit on the basis of relatable content. We often ignore inaction, but there's a power in inaction. And you will be able to see it once you come out of your own head. And the irony is, the more you go in your head, the more you'll come out of it. हम हमेशा विशियस साइकिल की बात करते हैं, बट देयर इज अ वर्चुअस साइकिल फॉर गुड हैबिट्स. मोर यूल गो टू जिम, मोर हेल्दी यूल वांट टू ईट. उस मेहनत को वेस्ट नहीं करनी ना. द मोर रिजल्ट यू विल सी, एंड अगेन मोर जिम यू वुड वांट टू गो. The more you would sit with yourself to know who you are, more calm you would be, more curiosity you're going to have, and more you would want to sit alone. It's just take thoda sa time to see the result. Take a break from everything for yourself. खुद के इतने करीब हो कि अकेले होके भी सुकून में हो. Thank you for listening. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Remember to smile. Cheers to you. Be you. Bye-bye. And don't forget to follow for more.